Well, here it is, and I'm using like a shorter, almost lower down hopper, which I've cut out some cardboard, just roughly, well, semi-roughly, let's put it like that, not too bad. Just sellotaped at the corners here to make this hopper, rather than print out a big hopper which would take ages. I do have this blade protector now. Again, I'm going to be using this off 12 volts. I'm basically going to tip some plastic in here and see what happens. Now this whole thing actually fell on the floor. I had it somewhere else, and it fell on the floor, and it broke off the bracket of the motor, which I've glued up, and I've got some sellotape to hold it together. I don't know if you can see that in the camera in the video. Just a second while I plug it in. 12 volts here. Turn it on. Oh, by the way, this mountain here is, I haven't tightened these bolts up, so it does move about when I turn it on. So 12 volts going in, 24 volt motor. Here's some details about the motor, e-bike motor. Yeah, so that's reverse, that's forward. And as you can probably hear and see, it's not total central. So this is a box of parts I've got. There's some old parts, there's some heavier parts, I would say they're a bit more solid, but these all have infilling. It's quite not too heavy, that one. And there are some, this is just a support. It's been pulled off apart. This is a previous cut part I did using this saw method. So I'm just going to tip these in because this will be more realistic. There's some smaller bits. Now I'm expecting this to not work very well because there won't be enough like weight on it unless we have a plate on top pushing down. But we'll see how it goes there. So I'm just going to tip all that in because that'll be more realistic, I think. As a person might use it or try to use it. Or if you're using earphones, watch out for your ears here. Well, I don't know if all this will tip in actually. I'm just going to see, that's got stuck straight away. It's nowhere even near the blades. And that's probably going to I'm going to add a bit more to it because I want to see if the weight of the parts actually pushes down. It's not even touching the blades, you can hear it's not even touching the blades. Right, I've got this old spanner I printed out. This is for the 22mm nuts. Not too good being plastic, I don't think, but even pressing down on the top like that, I'm pressing down quite firmly there, and I think the hopper sides might be too, what would you call them, steep if they like that. Turn it off a bit. Turn off the power, the PSU, 12 volts as I said. Take them out there. I think that the plastic parts are almost getting stuck by the side here, and then parts are getting stuck on top of them, so that wasn't even touching the blades. Here's the one I was cutting earlier without the hopper on. I'm going to put this in and see if it shreds it. Try and get this at a, well, I estimate a better angle, so to speak. Hang on. And as you see, it's just bouncing on the top there. Let's try turning it round and putting it in like this. It's wanting to push this way, which is like the way the blades are going round, almost clockwise in a way. I'm going to have to hold it on, I think. Let me try one of these. So here's an earlier iteration of the connection piece I have. That should roll about nicely in here, I think. Yeah. And I've knocked this hopper off. Not very successful there. So this almost just clips on here in this cardboard because it's springy a bit. Just some cheap sellotape just hobbled together just as it's all prototyping, testing. So I think there that almost straight aside, straight up and down would be better, because here it's almost wedging in, and that, well, then it's only going to be a narrow bit if, I just don't know, unless we make this wider. There is an option maybe to make this wider, but then I'm going to need a much longer M22 bolt I have here, and longer M6 bolts I have here, but like threaded rods might be, well, what could be a better option there, because I don't know if you can get long enough bolts in the M6s I have here. Trying one more. I'll try a very lightweight piece, see what happens. So this is one of the like spaces I have between the saw blades. It's about 1mm thick, bumps on. And when I printed it in Cura, I thought I'll try and print it without holes. And you see, it took out the hole in the middle. That was Cura. I'm just going to drop this in there. And you might hear it as just touching the edge there. And I think that this could drop down the edge of the blade, this one, because there is a gap each side. No. Let me put it on. If I put it on there like that, then it's going across the top. Put on there. It's jamming against the edge again. See, that almost got stuck by the side of the blade there. And if I press down like this, it's hitting the edges of the hopper, because it's so wide on the edge of the top there. I mean, one problem with getting more saw blades as well is that obviously the double saw blades, it's not only longer bolts, which is more price, it's more saw blades that's going to be more price. So it's adding cost to the thing, and there's a point where this, you know, it's just not going to be economically worthwhile, because the price of adding more blades and more longer bowls and threaded rods and print out the parts, etc, etc, is, you know, you might as well buy well, a proper shredder, quote marks, proper shredder. Right, let's try this. I think this was for a small worm electric motor I tried on here, and the worm, small electric worm motor was useless actually for something like this, so that's a bracket for that. Watch your ears, because this might do it. I'm just deliberately throwing it in almost any old how, and as you can hear and see, it's just rattling on the top of the blades there until eventually it gets moved over. So just a very light grazing there. That's all it's done, like that. Very good. There was, I think I might have done it if I kept pressing down on that. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Is it worthwhile continuing on anymore? Would I class it as a success? Well, semi-success if you're willing to hold the pieces on or put a heavy weight on them or something, maybe. But then you're going to have to watch it, you know, like non-stop. You can't take your eyes off this. Now, there are electronics you could possibly get that could sense the ampage going through the motor, and if it was struggling, it could switch it off. Obviously, there's overheating things. But there's also electronics that sense the ampage, because the ampage will rise if it jams, I imagine. And you could sense that and say stop, or maybe reverse and go forward a bit again, and stuff like that. But all that's adding more and more expense to this shredder. Let me try taking this box off. We've got the power off, haven't we? We have now. So take that off a bit. Oh, actually, I have moved this gap a bit in this hole, so it's a bit tighter, this gap, because I think when I was doing this edge, look at the previous video, it was getting stuck, and as the blades were coming round, I was jamming against the edge of it here. Now I'll shut that gap up. It should. Now really watch for your ears here. I mean, doing it like this gives me more control. Move the camera down a bit, give you a different angle. This is turning in a way towards us. Like if I go like that, it's turning clockwise. Don't going to deliberately try and get this to see if I can get it to jam or not. Yep. Yeah, it did jam there. We might have noticed that this big 22mm bolt was still turning, but the blades held still, so the blades can, well, slip a bit. It's almost like a clutch. And it jammed a bit there as well. And again. And again and again. Now it's jammed. Although I've got two like half nuts. These are half nuts. They're half depth in a way. Tightened against each other on each side. Well, I've tightened the nuts up against the blades to squeeze them together as tight as I can with the spaces between. And then I've put on another half nut on each side and tighten that up against them to try and stop this, like as you've seen there, where this is turning and the blade staying still. I've also made the spaces between these, like I showed you earlier. That was a space that got printed out wrong. Made them like bigger diameter so they grip more. But see, that's still jamming there. Well, for me, I don't think it's worthwhile continuing anymore, to be honest with you, with this. You see, I've got sellotape around here. There, yeah, this whole thing fell on the floor, smash. And it broke all the way across here, which I've glued with some Yoo-hoo glue, mainly. And I put some tape onto sellotape. Well, I put the tape on to hold it in position while it was gluing. But I've left it all night and I've decided to keep the tape on to make sure it holds in position. I've also wedged a bit of cardboard underneath that motor just to try and stabilise it. I do not think it's worthwhile pursuing this anymore. Other blades, someone suggested these type of blades. Thank you. I'll put a link onto their channel as well. Well, they didn't suggest them, but they mentioned these type of blades, which have deeper, like, teeth. But those are pretty expensive, actually, for a set of those. And one idea behind this was to keep the price down. But it doesn't look, I don't think that's going to work out. Anyway, I'm waffling on here. This is all of 12 volts, by the way. 24 volt motor there. I almost forgot to show you the plastic bits there. There's a bit falling down. Well, what's been shredded? That was only that small amount there. Right. So to fashion it, well, could argue it does work to a fashion. But realistically, no, I don't think so. So this is the type of blade, well, somebody mentioned Dado, and these certainly have, well, generally have deeper sort of cutting teeth. See how deep those cutting blades are there? But you can see the price there plus the postage there, you know, that's for one. Well, how many blades is that for? I don't know. It's got these other sort of cutting parts here. I assume those go between. Now there's maybe better one because this is wider. See how it's got those wide tips on there? Let me put that under my watch list. Although again, that is pretty expensive, but remembering that, just a second, let me measure that because I haven't even measured it. Well, on the saw blades I was using, or what have you, it's about 18 millimeters, and that's about 5 saw blades. I think it's 5 saw blades with 1 millimeter between each saw blade. I wonder how wide this is. So we can see that's £20 just delivery, £16 for thingy, and import charge. So expensive. Well, for me it's expensive. Here's another one similar. That's got a bit rusty, but well, quite rusty this one. But at least you can presumably take the blades out and change the blades if need be. Let me try and, does it actually have the width here? Used, doesn't say much at all. Go back. Just a second. So there's one blade on. Not really ideal. Right, this is going to be a long waffling partly rant video maybe. But there's some nice deep blades. So the site I'm on about is Precious Plastics. I'll put a link below, and they do have this bizarre page where you can buy things. See, this one is €250. UK customers only. And that's just for like this shredder unit. There's no motor, no hopper, no, I don't know, no other parts there. Presumably. I thought the bazaar was all, he's like a kit or something. €450. Say 50 euros. Wow. I have to buy that quick. Some good, look like got good beefy bearings there. And see how the blades are. And these have a like hexagon shaped, going a hexagon shaped shaft here. So there's no way those blades are going to basically turn. Well, independent of the part. I'll just